The seaside town of Torquay, England, 2011. It's spring, when a woman's thoughts often turn to love. But 44-year-old Carol Kemp believes love has passed her by.
Carol's childhood was not good. She was in and out of foster homes, at one point reunited with her mother and then taken away again. Nothing in her childhood said she would have a good adulthood. Nothing.
As an adult, Carol endures a string of abusive relationships. The emotional scars leave her unable to care for her own children.
Carol had 4 sons. All of those children at different times were taken into care.
The emptiness in her life is sometimes too much to bear.
Carol had a history of self-harming. She had previously taken overdoses, and also she'd been known to cut herself.
But these days, a lonely heart can be cured with a keystroke.
Carol thought the answer to happiness was a relationship. And she went online shopping for a boyfriend.
Carol soon finds her Prince Charming.
Martin Riesling was 44 years of age. He lived on Portland in Dorset. He worked as a laminator in a local firm. He worked there for many years.
He's ticked almost every box on the path to happiness. Good friends, a steady job, a busy social life. All that's missing is that someone special.
I just have to give up on that caper.
Martin was a very cheerful, well-liked person. He was known for enjoying a glass of wine with his friends, his family, and he was very loved by his family.
After flirting online for weeks, Martin agrees to meet Carol face to face.
Here's cheers.
To us.
Okay, to us.
She met Martin. She fell in love with Martin.
I love Sunday roast.
But it wasn't returned.
Carol stays over at Martin's place a couple nights a week.
Their relationship seemed to be Carol doing all the giving. She would come see him. She would pay for the transportation, even though she was unemployed. She would stay for a few days and then leave. That was it. For Carol, that was love.
Bloody hell, you're here.
Welcome home.
Oh, you're here.
But her smothering attention does not jibe with Martin's bachelor lifestyle.
What have you done?
Do you like it?
Quite like it the way it was, actually.
Well, I was just trying to help.
Come on, Carol, come on.
He starts to glimpse another side to his sweetheart.
Carol was a very fragile person for any man to be involved with.
What he doesn't know is that Carol isn't just a lonely heart. She's a damaged mind.
Carol Kemp was a Disneyland of psychiatric disorders. She was a mess.
Carol has a borderline personality disorder. She's anxious and possessive, a fuse waiting to be lit.
She suffered from very, very serious clinical depression and was put on antipsychotic medication.
The medication hides the worst of her symptoms. But Carol Kemp makes a deadly decision.
She'd stopped taking that medication in the beginning of December.
And that's a catch-22. Because when she took her medication, she didn't think she needed it. And when she didn't take it, she didn't know she needed it.
Off her meds, Carol's mental illness escapes. She becomes desperate for attention. When Martin goes to the pub, she calls 40 times in half an hour.
Hello? Yeah, I'll be home soon.
I need you to come home now.
Look, calm down, Carol. I'm just down the pub with me mates having a beer.
Is that your new missus?
And for Martin, this is humiliating.
Carol, I'm not hearing you. I've got to go.
He's among his peers, his friends, his colleagues, and here's this crazy woman screaming at him.
There was an occasion when Carol sent repeated abusive text messages.
Better get home soon.
Without realizing it, Martin has stepped into emotional quicksand with no chance of escape.
Carol was a walking police report waiting to be filled out.
Christmas, 2011, in Dorset, England. Martin Rustling usually celebrates with his family. But this year, it's an intimate occasion with his new girlfriend, Carol Kemp.
It isn't known how much Martin really knew about Carol's psychiatric problems and personal history.
It's our first Christmas together. Just the two of us.
He may have not known anything.
Cheers.
For
the next 2 days, they celebrate by drinking heavily. On December 27th, emboldened by booze, Carol asks the question that's been on her mind since the day they met.
Why don't I move in? We can start the new year together.
There was a discussion during the course of the evening about whether or not Carol would be moving in with Martin.
Look, I think we should slow everything down.
But Carol doesn't get the answer she is looking for.
God, you don't love me.
Martin may not have loved Carol,
You've been using me.
No.
but he was nice
Come
to
on, Carol, that's
her.
unfair.
He didn't want to hurt her.
Carol, come on. Carol.
He wanted to let her down gently.
Come on.
There's nothing gentle about Carol's reaction.
Come on, hey.
This was a crushing reality of a broken dream that was just too much for her to cope with.
Carol, come on.
She becomes overwhelmed. The rejection, she just can't take it anymore. And here come the demons now, and they're talking to her.
They're telling her to act out a familiar scene.
She picked up a knife and was intending on cutting her wrist.
I'm gonna cut myself.
He tried to stop her.
For Carol,
What are you doing?
this is where everything just goes south. She grabs Martin's necklace and rips it off of him. Martin won't defend himself. He doesn't want to do anything to harm this woman.
Martin stops Carol harming herself, but she isn't the one in danger.
That love, the heart, she just cut it in two.
The wound is more than 4 inches deep. Martin is dying before he hits the floor. Carol doesn't run or hide. She calls the police.
When officers attended at the scene, she refused to let them in. They therefore went to the windows to see what they could see.
Carol was straddling Martin and kissing him on the lips. What does that tell us? That she was remorseful almost immediately.
Police force their way in. Carol comes quietly.
He's dead.
All her rage spent in that one fatal blow.
She says, I didn't mean to kill him. I didn't mean to hurt him. And you know what? I believe her.
In May 2012, Carol Kemp is convicted of murder. She is sentenced to life with a minimum 13 years in prison.
This was not premeditated murder. This was a loss of control.
Martin Russling is the innocent victim looking for love. But Carol Kemp was one of life's victims long before they met.
I'm not sure Carol Kemp ever had one happy day in her life.
Carol's twisted thoughts spawned a dark heart that refused to take no for an answer.
Possession, rejection, obsession. When you put those together with mental illness, it equals one thing: murder.
In 1986, St. Louis, Missouri. 26-year-old Ellen Boehm is tired of the constraints of family life. A young bride to a much older Vietnam veteran. Within 5 years of marrying, Ellen is the mother of 2, with a 3rd baby on the way.
The kids need you here.
You go out. It's my turn.
But to the wrestling?
I don't know if Ellen really wanted to be a mom that quick, but she was. So as like most new moms, she was learning on the fly.
That's Deanne. My mom.
Ellen's not a typical stay-at-home mom. She's a die-hard wrestling fan. A passion shared with friend Deanne Bond. She remembers those first nights at the wrestling ring where they meet.
Ellen sat behind my husband and I at the professional wrestling matches in St. Louis, so I got acquainted with her that way, and we both enjoyed professional wrestling.
The 2 women have another thing in common: marriage troubles.
I went through my divorce, and we got to talking, and then her marriage was in trouble.
8 months pregnant with her 3rd child, husband Paul drops a bombshell.
Oh, this baby's taking forever.
I'm gonna be at the hospital before you.
What are you talking about?
He told her that when he was in Vietnam, he was exposed to Agent Orange. And the only way he could be cured was he was going to have to go to Texas for treatment.
Doctor says I need urgent tests.
But it is all a lie. Paul is not sick. He is leaving Ellen for another woman.
Very few men leave a wife who's pregnant, but that's what Ellen's husband did.
July 25th, 1986. Ellen gives birth to baby David, alone.
Ellen was not a demonstrative person. I couldn't say she was real loving, but she was good with the kids. Even when things were tough, I mean, as tough as they could get.
And times are tough. Abandoned by her husband, Ellen is left with mounting bills, despite working in an office during the day and delivering pizzas at night.
It always dumped on Ellen. She would get calls from these collected agencies demanding their money, and she's trying to do the best she can with what she makes.
Hello? Yes, I know. Look, I just need a little more time.
Raising 3 children and drowning in debt doesn't stop Ellen from indulging in her favorite pastime: wrestling.
This weekend is gonna be the best.
You're spending all your money on these matches.
Don't worry, Mom. I am planning for one of them to marry me.
It was strange that she was spending the money on wrestling trips when she might need it for everyday life. But at the same time, I could see how much joy and how much fun she was having. It was carefree for her. She didn't have 3 little ones that were tugging at her.
She figured she deserved a little time off to do something for herself. That was her hobby, wrestling.
In 1988, Ellen is forced to file for bankruptcy.
There was no humanly way possible she could keep up and take care of a new family.
Debt and financial hardship are among the most profound stressors in life.
Mommy, where's dinner? I'm hungry.
So is raising 3 children. Ellen had both.
Soon, Ellen's hobby becomes an obsession. Wrestling is more important than friends and family.
Things deteriorated. Wrestling became just so much of her world. It was an escape from reality. It wasn't healthy.
Rather than walk away from her excessive involvement in expensive weekends away watching wrestlers, Ellen chose to indulge her compulsion.
Ellen wants some me time, and she soon finds a way to get it. 1988, St. Louis, Missouri. 28-year-old single mother of 3, Ellen Boehm, is bankrupt.
Look, I just need a little more time.
She was up to her neck in debt and trying to figure her way out of it.
Since her divorce, Ellen's children are more of a burden than a joy.
She was just so overwhelmed, and she's still trying to take care of 3 kids.
Ellen doesn't have the patience to deal with her youngest son, 2-year-old David.
They're all fussy. But moms get over it. Ellen just didn't want to deal with it.
Thanksgiving, November 24th, 1988. Ellen settles her 2 older children in bed. But little David is allowed to stay up.
I can only guess what was going through Ellen's head at that time.
She gets a big cushion off of her couch. They transferred David to Children's Hospital. And when they eventually winds up on life support.
The doctor came in and he told us that there was nothing they could do.
There's no brain activity. There's nothing more we can do.
Doctors seek Ellen's permission to take David off life support.
What would you do? Would you pull a plug?
Oh, I don't I can't.
Her friend Deanne is shocked by Ellen's response.
And she turned to the doctor and she said,
Pull it.
I froze for just a minute. It was just as though she had said, I want a Coke.
She never did shed any tears.
Ellen receives a life insurance payout of $5,000.
That was the first taste of any extra money.
Only 8 months after David's death, Ellen goes shopping.
Yes, hello. Do you do life insurance policies for children?
Turned out there was like a total like $94,000 worth of life insurance taken out.
Okay, so that means a payout of how much if she dies?
September 13th, 1989. Ellen's 8-year-old daughter is enjoying a relaxing bedtime bath.
She got into the bathtub and she had her Barbie dolls with her and she was playing. She did take Jenny to the hospital because she was bleeding a little from the mouth.
Ellen's daughter survives, and everyone accepts it as an unfortunate accident. Until just 12 days later, Ellen falls into an all-too-familiar routine.
There was just no emotion whatsoever. It was just like another day.
For longtime friend Deanne Bond, a third tragedy in the Bohm family is too much. She calls the police.
That time, I just couldn't let this go.
Suspecting foul play, police conduct a thorough investigation.
Ellen could not have the life she wanted with children, or so she thought. So she chose murder.
The thing that gets to me the most is a little girl now knows that her mother killed her 2 brothers. And 2 little boys never got a chance to grow up. That's the hardest part.
In 1993, Ellen pleads guilty to 1 count of first-degree murder and 1 count of second-degree murder. She receives 2 life sentences with no possibility of parole.
I have always felt that taste of not having to pinch every penny when she got that insurance money for David is what set this whole thing in motion.
Ellen killed her children for money. It was all about the payday.
On December 2nd, 1978, in a quiet community in Santa Barbara, something happens that strikes fear into every parent's heart. A missing child.
It was on a Saturday, which was typically a busy day for us at the market.
Yolanda Magana remembers the day well. As a 12-year-old in her family's grocery store.
My mom wanted to go shopping because Christmas was around the corner. My dad said, sure, you can go ahead and leave. I'll take over the register. You know, you taking the kids with you? And she said, sure, I'll take the kids with me.
Javier, is he going with you?
Oh, yeah. Go get your brother.
But when they are leaving, Yolanda can't find her 7-year-old brother, Javier.
We weren't sure if my dad didn't hear that we said he wasn't with us or if we just left.
Both parents think the little boy is with the other. He's not. He's left alone to play. When Yolanda and her mother return, they discover he's missing.
I remember going out to look for him, and I went to check with his playmate, and he had told me, you know, that he hadn't seen him ever since he had gone across the way into Julia's apartment.
Javier, ayúdeme con algo, por favor.
I'll be back in a minute.
Javier was last seen walking into the apartment of local babysitter, 22-year-old Julia Diaz. A new but trusted member of the community.
Being we were familiar with this apartment, I didn't hesitate to knock on the door and ask, you know, if my brother was there.
Hi, Julia. Have you seen Javier?
No.
Can I look around? He likes to hide.
Javier isn't there. But Yolanda recalls something strange about Julia's behavior.
She's just gotten out of the shower, and she's looking at me through the bathroom mirror. Her hair is up in a towel.
I can't find him anywhere. My mom is just so worried about him.
I tell him to go home if I see.
I turned around to walk away, and she walked up behind me and put her hand on me, saying, you know, well, wait a minute, don't leave.
Don't leave.
Yolanda is much closer to her brother than she thinks. Julia, a Mexican immigrant, has a troubled and violent past.
She, like many other immigrants that come to California, was trying to make money and send money home and support her family. She had a child who was left back in Mexico with her mother to raise, which is not terribly uncommon.
Making money is not easy. Her first job as a hotel chambermaid doesn't last.
What is taking you so long? No English. You're smoking. You... Don't you dare push me!
She's fired for a vicious temper.
You're fired.
And she had a physical altercation with a coworker, pulled some scissors out.
In Santa Barbara, she lands some work babysitting.
Hola, everything okay?
Yes, okay.
Would you be able to babysit my children?
The migrant community reaches out and welcomes her. But they have no idea who they are dealing with.
I'll only be a couple of hours. It's okay?
Her young life was very spotty. She was in some trouble. She had some mental health issues. She was committed somewhere around the age of 14 or 15 years old.
No one suspects Julia is anything but a quiet neighbor, someone else to look out for the kids.
Next door to the market, there was a duplex, and she lived in the rear apartment of the duplex. We were the only kids in the neighborhood besides another family, so there was 4 of us that would run around together. And the neighbors always kept an eye on us.
When Julia watches the children, she's not looking out for them. She's plotting. 5 days before Javier goes missing, Julia is behind an unthinkable act.
This was a very cowardly and terrible act that she performed.
The little girl did not see who hit her.
In the following days, Julia pretends to find letters that threaten the girl's family.
Julia Diaz, in her mind at the time, thought that she could extort money from the family. since they were now in a state of terror around the attack.
They said something like, if you don't give me the money, worse things will happen.
Julia wants big money. The extortion notes ask for $10,000.
Pretty much all Julia has ever known is violence with other humans. Julia never learned to live peacefully with other people, picking fights and stealing. That's how she survived.
The family isn't rich and don't have anything close to $10,000. After 5 days without a payment, Julia decides to show she's serious. This time, 7-year-old Javier is in her sights.
I don't know exactly what she said to catch his attention and to have him go into the apartment, but it had to be something he was familiar with if he went so willingly.
Javier walks into a trap. Santa Barbara, 1978. 22-year-old babysitter Julia Diaz is trying to extort money from families by threatening their children. Julia sets her sights on another family and lures 7-year-old Javier Angel into her home.
It is suspected that once the little boy was missing, she was going to follow up with another note saying, I told you I wanted money, you didn't give it to me, now your child is missing. Give me the money and I'll return him.
Javier is not going home. Javier survives the blow and the strangling, but can't survive suffocation.
He would have died within a matter of a minute, maybe, without air, without oxygen. A child that young would just, he wouldn't have lasted very long.
Julia Diaz is a violent, evil person. Anyone that would do something against a child is not a good person.
Hi, Julia. Have you seen Javier?
When Javier's sister Yolanda comes looking for him that afternoon, she has no idea she's talking to her brother's killer.
What possibly could my brother have ever done to have deserved something like that? Nobody deserves that.
Can't find him anywhere.
While the search for Javier is underway, the killer makes an eerie appearance at the family store.
Julia went into the market and asked her victim's parents if they could sell her something to wash the blood out of her clothes.
Hello?
I mean, she was like a psychopath. She had no feeling. Kill a child and ask her parents, how do you get blood from the child off my pants? I mean, jeez.
Julia?
She was either being stupid or sadistic.
Do you have good cleaner
Or maybe something in between.
or blood on clothes?
Whatever Julia is thinking, she has no time for her next move. Police already have her in their sights. Sadly, they are too late for Javier.
Well, the unfortunate thing about this case is she was suspected as the person who had sent the notes, and the police were going to arrest her in the early afternoon before the homicide. Unfortunately, they were called out on a stakeout. Had they not been on the stakeout, they would have taken her in earlier and this homicide wouldn't have occurred.
So, who wrote the letters?
Once in custody,
Didn't know who write it.
Julia inadvertently gives herself away.
Was it you, Julie?
No!
And you had nothing to do with Javier's death?
No! I did not hit that boy!
She said, I never hit that boy.
And how do you know the boy got hit?
Who said it?
Now, a person not knowing anything about what happened wouldn't say, I didn't hit the boy.
I never said that.
It's like saying I didn't stab the person. How would you know he was stabbed?
Javier is soon found under Julia's bed, his little body still warm.
Feeling his warm body and knowing that he was likely still alive when he was stuffed in those bags. He had been found with pieces of her hair in his hands, which would suggest that he did try to ward her off, fight her off, and was defensive in the attack.
Yolanda remembers the day she learns the horrible truth.
As I walked down the main aisle of the market, I could hear my mom and dad, but I could hear them like wailing and crying. I looked at everyone and I said, you know, where's my brother at? And I go, it seems like, you know, he's been found. And no one would say anything.
In July 1979, Julia Diaz is convicted of first-degree murder. She is sentenced to life in prison. In 2011, Julia is denied parole for another 15 years.
I will do everything I can to keep her in prison until the day she dies. And I will make sure this gets taken care of until the day I die. How could someone that's a mother herself have done something to a little boy that was almost the same age as hers? No one's ever been able to figure her out.
Julia's intentions remain a mystery, but money seems to be her primary motive.
Maybe she felt she deserved better than she had in life, and maybe monetarily she could get that, but why take it out on 2 children?
The most important thing in Julia's life is Julia. She feels nothing for what she did to that little boy. I don't think any children were safe when Julia was around. End of story.